So good morning everybody, welcome for our lesson today, social study. I think we'll discuss about the tourism. So today we want to look at climate. So we are going to define what is climate. We're also going to look at the factors that influence climate in Africa and so on. So number one, so climate is an average weather condition. An average weather condition of a place for a long period of time. An average weather condition of a place for a long period of time. Now, this is what we call climate. Now, climate, we are talking about an average weather condition of a place for a long period of time because the scientists normally carry out study for a long period of time, can be either 30 to 35 years. Then they can come up with a conclusion of a climate of a place. For example, when you talk about average weather condition, then we shall look at how much millimeters of water is received at this place per year. Then we calculate over around 30 to 35 years. We shall also look at the range of the temperatures in this place. Then we can conclude the climate of this place. So climate is an average condition of a place for a long period of time, can be either 30 to 35 years. Now, we have three types of climate. We have hot and wet. Hot and wet means this climate most of the time is received in lowland areas where we have the ocean or lake or large water bodies. So it means it is hot. For example, when you go to Mombasa along the coastal, it is very hot. Then it is also very wet because of high convectional rainfall, because there is a lot of humidity from the sea. When the sea is warmed and then the water vaporizes, it condenses to come back as rainfall. So that's what you're talking about. Then we have also what you call hot and dry. Hot and dry. So hot and dry is received in areas like arid and semi-arid areas. For example, you can talk about northeastern part of Kenya, all the way from Garissa here, talk about Wajir, Mandera. They receive also hot and dry climate because we have very little rainfall. We have very little relief features like mountains, which can contribute to formation of relief rainfall. We have also very little hills and mountains in this area, which can contribute to formation of rainfall. So hot and dry. Then we have cool and wet. So cool and wet is mostly received in highland areas. So cool and wet is received in highland areas, cool temperature, then wet because there is high rainfall, cool temperature and so on. So that is climate. Now, we want to look at the factors that influence climate. Factors that influence climate in Africa. So factors that influence climate in Africa, we have what you call relief and altitude. I will explain this. There is something like this. This is sea. So this is a relief mountain or a relief feature. So relief, this is what we call relief. Relief is rising and falling of the land. When the land rises, it forms a mountain, and when it falls, it forms a valley. So this is what we call relief. So we are looking at the landscape. Now, how does this relief influence climate? Now, this is what happens. Here, we are assuming this is the coastal or lowland areas. We have the sea here or an ocean or a lake. Then when you start moving towards the highland areas, we are now coming to high above the sea level. So this distance from here to here, so this distance, we call it altitude. So altitude is a height above the sea level, or a height above the, or altitude is this distance height above the sea level. So the higher you go, the cooler it becomes. Now this is what normally happens. During the day, when the sun is hitting this water, the sun is hitting the water, so this is sun, so the water vapor rises. These are water vapor from the sea. When this water vapor rises, it is pushed towards the relief by the winds. When it is pushed toward the wind, the relief by the winds, it condenses here, then it forms clouds, so it comes back as rainfall. So you'll find that the mountain like this, so one side will receive rainfall, then the other side will have dry condition. For example, talk about Mount Kenya, the other side of the mountain receives a lot of rainfall, then the other side also receives no rainfall or very little rainfall. A very good example. Now, this side that receives a lot of rainfall is called windward side. So this is windward side. Then the other side is called leeward side, leeward or rain shadow. So these are the two sides of the mountain. Then we have said, when you look here, we have these arrows, arrow A. This one is warm and moist wind. Warm and moist wind. We are calling it moist because it contains some moisture from the sea. So that's why when it is pushed towards this relief region, it condenses here and then it comes back as rainfall. So this is called, this wind is warm and moist in nature. Then the other side, it is very dry, this region. So the area receives, this wind is cool and dry. So the wind is cool and dry, it has no moisture, that's why we have no rainfall on this side. So this is how relief influence climate of a place. So you can see the climate in this region will be hot and dry. Then this region will receive cool and wet climate. A very good example is this site where we have a lot of rainfall on the side of Mount Kenya. So we are assuming this is our Mount Kenya. So we have Embu. Embu receives a lot of rainfall. Meru. We have Nyeri, like that. Nyeri, Kirinyaga, and so on. So these are the places. Then another place like this one, where leeward side, where we have no rain. This side, a very good example is Nanyuki. Nanyuki is an example of leeward side on this part of this mountain. So this is how relief affects the rainfall. Now, after knowing that now, we have said this here, we have a lot of rainfall in this side. There's a lot of rainfall at the windward side. So the economic activity we can carry out here is crop farming. So farming generally can be practiced in this area. For example, we can grow coffee because this one is highland area, receives a lot of rainfall. We have tea. Then also we have pyrethrum. Pyrethrum is also grown here, highland crops. Then this side, the best economic activity we can carry out this side because there is no rainfall is pastoralism. Pastoralism is the keeping of livestock, moving of livestock with the livestock from one place to another. So that is how this one affect these places. Then also we can, So that is how now the relief affect climate of a place. Number two, we want to go at factor number two that affect climate. We call it winds. So factor number two, we have winds. Winds. So if I may sketch the map of Africa, So this is the map of Africa. I've just sketched, just a sketch. So that is the map of Africa. It's just a sketch. So I shall draw this, then this, and then this, then this. This one is called Harmattan wind. Harmattan winds. Harmattan winds. Then we have another winds. We have other winds here. They are called westerly. Westerly wind is here. Westerly. Then we have northeast trade winds. Northeast trade winds is here. Then we have another one here. They are called northeast trade winds. So this one is called northeast trade winds. Then when you move, we have southeast trade winds. So here we have southeast trade winds. We have other winds here. They are called southeast trade winds. They are here. Then we have another one called the westerly winds. Westerly winds also blows across the Cape Kulhas, or in southern part of Africa. Westerly winds. We have also another westerly here. Westerly winds is also here. Then we have another one called southwesterly winds. Southwesterly winds is at the Central Africa here in the Congo Basin region. So this is called southwesterly winds, like that. So we want to look at how this wind affects the climate of a place. Now, we have said, now when it comes to winds, we have now two types of winds. So these winds, we have what we call offshore winds, offshore. Then we have what we call onshore winds, onshore. I'll start with the offshore winds. Offshore winds are the winds that blow away from the land to the sea. So like if you look at these winds, they are offshore winds. They are originating from the sea, from the land, sorry, from the land to the sea. You can see these winds are moving towards the sea. They are like this. So these are called Harmattan winds. They are called offshore winds. They are moving from the land to the sea. Here we have Mediterranean Sea. Then here we have Atlantic Ocean. Then here we have Indian Ocean. So the winds blowing from the land to the sea, they are called offshore winds. Those winds, they are very dry because they don't have any moisture. That's what you're talking about. Then we have what you call onshore winds. Onshore winds are those winds passing across the ocean or water bodies. So they have a lot of moisture. When they come to adjacent land, then they cause a lot of rainfall. That is convectional rainfall. So that's what we want to look at one by one. So this one I've said is Harmattan wind on the northern part of Africa. Then on the western Cape Verde, on the Cape Verde here we have westerly winds. In the Congo Basin, Congo region, that is Central Africa, we have southwesterly winds. Then in the southern part, Cape Kulhas, here we have what we call westerly winds. Then near Madagascar, on the southern eastern part of Africa, we have what we call the southeast trade winds. Then on the Horn of Africa here, we have what we call northeast trade winds. So that's what you're talking about. And then, so we shall start one by one, like that. Westerly winds, they are onshore winds. They bring winter rain to the Mediterranean region. Now, when you are looking at, we say Mediterranean region is found here. Westerly wind is here and here. So this one, they are onshore winds. Westerly winds, they are onshore. Onshore winds, and they bring what we call Mediterranean rainfall. Mediterranean rain. So Mediterranean is found in the southern part of Africa and in the northern part of Africa around Morocco, Bangladesh, Libya. You'll find it, that is Mediterranean region. So westerly wind causes a lot of rainfall because it is blowing across the ocean and is carrying a lot of moisture. So during the winter season, then there is a lot of rainfall experienced at this Cape province in South Africa. Then we have the part of North Africa, that is onshore wind number one. And then number two, we have what you call westerly winds. They are also onshore wind. They bring winter, northeast trade winds. Northeast trade winds is in the Horn of Africa here. So northeast trade winds. Northeast trade winds, they are very hot and dry. Northeast trade winds are hot and dry. They cause dry condition. And why are they hot and dry? These winds are hot and dry because they originate from Arabian land. So they travel all the way from Arabia, and Arabia is a very dry land. So the wind travels from Arabia and it's very dry, so it originates from a dry land. That is why these trade winds has really an impact on the climate of Somalia and even part of northeastern, which is Garissa, Mandera, and then we have Wajir. So here, these winds, they are very dry. Why? Because they are originating from Asia. Asia is somewhere here. This is Asia. So it blows from a dry land. Asia is very dry land. And when we talk about Asia, then we are looking at Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, Iran, that is Iraq. Those are the countries that form part of Asia. Those countries, they are very dry. This land is very dry. So this wind is also very dry. It causes no rain here. It causes dry condition. Some of the wind that has started to very dry condition in northeastern part of Kenya, like Garissa, Mandera, and then we have Wajir, because the wind is also very dry. It has no moisture at the end of the day. Then we have southeast trade winds. Southeast trade winds are onshore winds. They bring a lot of rain to the eastern Africa. Southeast trade winds is here. Southeast trade winds is here. Southeast trade winds is along the coastal of eastern Africa. It is an onshore wind. It is carrying a lot of moisture from Indian Ocean here. So when it comes to adjacent land here, we have a lot of convectional rainfall on the coastal part of eastern Africa. So that is all onshore wind, like that. Then we have another one called Harmattan wind. Harmattan wind is found in the northern part of Africa. It is very dry. It is an offshore wind. Offshore, we have said those are wind originating from the land towards the sea. So they are very dry. That's why most of these countries in North Africa, Arabic countries like Egypt, you have Morocco, Tunisia, Libya, they are very dry. Why? Because of this wind. It originates from the land, so it has no moisture. So it causes dry condition. Most of part of Africa, you'll find they are desert and semi-deserts because of these winds and so on. So that's all about the winds. Then another thing we are talking about that affect climate is latitude. Another thing that affects climate is latitude. What is latitude? Latitude are imaginary lines on the world globe that runs from west to east. For example, we say it in Africa, we have 3 major latitudes. This one is called Tropic of Cancer. Tropic of Cancer is here. Then in the mid-east of Africa continent, we have what we call equator. Equator is here. We say it is marked 0 degrees. This one is marked 23.5 degrees north. So then down here we have what we call the Tropic of Capricorn. Tropic of Capricorn, it is marked 23.5 degrees south. So these are what we call the latitudes. Now, how do they affect the climate of a place? We have said on 21st June here, the sun is overhead here, 21st June. So the sun is overhead here. Then this region is experiencing the hot season, which we call it summer. This is summer in this region. And this region experiences summer because they are away from the tropics, this region here. So on 21st June, the sun is overhead. Then it means this area is very dry. Then when it comes to here, that is on 22nd December. 22nd December, the sun here also, the area is very dry or hot. So it is also experiencing summer. And we say it is opposite. When this region is experiencing hot season, this one is cold season. The hot season we call it summer, then the cold season is called winter. Then on the equator here, we said that is twice. That is March, then we have September. March and September here, the region experience. That's why when you look at the central part of Africa and Eastern Africa, experience very warm climate. Why? Because we have twice sun overhead at the tropic of the equator, which is the major latitude. And we said that most of Africa continent lies within the tropics. That's why also experience warm climate. So that is how these tropics or the latitude affect climate. The sun overhead causes high temperature. Then when the sun overhead changes to different, you'll find that the others receive low temperature, which is winter, like in the tropical area, the lower part here, Capricorn, then Ikanda at the north. So that is all. Thank you for watching. We shall continue next time.